ma'am.
Yeah, Manishri,
Ma'am, shall we start, madam?
no, the participants are very less, no?
No, here in Google Meet, like we gave less participants, madam, only for our college and the speakers.
Okay, remaining
The
you all.
other remaining YouTube live stream, madam.
YouTube live stream, all will be there. Participants will be there.
Yeah.
Uh, Dr. Mangai Karsi has joined. Good morning, madam.
Yes, madam. And today's guest speaker, Ramani sir, also joined, madam.
Good morning, Ramani sir.
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, Sunita, madam.
Sunita is not there.
No,
She's
no,
there.
ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
She's there.
Good morning, Sunita.
Ma'am, good morning.
Ma'am, shall we start? Or
Yes, ma'am.
we'll wait for...
2 minutes, 2 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Do you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think it's time to start.
Manishri, you can
Ma'am,
start.
shall we
Manishri.
start?
Yes.
An ecstatic good morning and my hearty respects to all the dignitaries, my colleagues and friends. I'm Dr. Vanishri and on behalf of Department of Science and Humanities, SV Engineering College, I welcome all of you for the AICT sponsored 1-week short-term training program on Harmony in the Workplace, Effective Interpersonal and Communication Skills, Phase 1, Communication Skills at Workplace. It is true that world has shrunk to a small village because we have 1100 participants across the globe. It's a tradition to start any program by offering prayers to the Almighty. Let us invoke the Almighty to seek the divine blessings for the success of this program and also to spread His divine waves. Sir? May the God give and make us to regain our auspiciousness. May the world be peace be unto all. May fullness and prosperity be unto all. May all be happy and may all be free from disabilities and overcome all the negative situations and spread the divine vibes to gain the eternal energy. I request all the participants to please mute yourself. Request all the participants to mute yourself, please. Thank you. Now it's time to welcome our honorable dignitaries. It gives me pleasure to welcome our principal of SV Engineering College for Women, Dr. T. Kalpalata Reddy Madam, to deliver the welcome speech. Madam, please.
Thank you, Vanishri. Respected dignitaries for today's event. Guest speaker, Professor P.N. Ramani Garu, Educational Consultant, Quality Assurance Expert, Chennai, and the resource person, J. Mangaya Risi, Dean of Academics and HOD, Ethology College, Chennai. My friend and colleague, Dr. N. Sudhakar Reddy, Principal SVCE, and another colleague, Dr. P.V.N. Reddy Garu, Principal SVCK, HODs of both the colleges, especially the head of the Department of Science and Humanities, Dr. K. Sunita Reddy, and the convener for this AICT sponsored 1 week Sttp program, Dr. Vanishri, who was the woman behind this success, and all the supporting team of Sttp program, and especially my wholehearted thanks to the participants across the globe. We have received 1,100 enrollments for this particular 1 week Sttp program, which was happening from today onwards. And they have been scattered across 22 countries, and it was very nice to hear that information from the convener. So a warm welcome to one and all present here. So we all know that that title of this particular Sttp is the order of the day, because the harmony in the workplace and the effective interpersonal and communication skills. So we all know that most of the times, so though we are intelligent and we know what how to deal with the people, but the right communication and right sense of communicating it to the opponent is very important. Especially we are facing this difficulty in terms of recruitment process. Most of our students, they are good in technical knowledge, but when it comes to the hiring process, so they need to express what they know in front of the opponent, especially to the HR person, and which was lagging with the students. So we, in our SVEC, we make sure that the students will have a good communication right from the first year, and we emphasize in terms of enrolling the students for BEC training classes and English speaking zones, and communication plays very, very vital role both for the students and as well as the faculty. I feel the program of this kind will have a full potential of giving you the inputs in such a way that, so we have resource persons from across the India. So we have resource persons from IITs, NITs, IISCs, and so we have even from reputed British Council, so all other things. So the participants will have enrichment of the knowledge in terms of the harmony in the workplace. So let me just congratulate the team in making this to happen. So we have the first phase coming from today, and the second phase in the month of November, and the third phase in the month of December. So let me just thank the AICT for giving the sponsorship, and our college management who has supported in making this to happen. So all the best to the convener, to the HR, head of the department, and all to the participants also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your electrifying speech, which encourages us in all the aspects. I take it as a privilege to welcome Dr. P.V.N. Reddy, sir, Principal of SVCK, Kadapa, to say few words to excel us in every path of life. Sir, please.
Thank you, madam. Principals of SVEC and SVCE, Dr. T. Kalpalata Reddy, madam, and Dr. N. Sudhakar Reddy. Keynote speaker, Professor G.M. Sundarvalli. Guest speaker, Professor P.N. Ramani. Resource person, Professor J. Mangaya Karsi. Convener, co-conveners, coordinators, HODs, and all the participants. Very good morning to one and all. I am immensely happy to take this opportunity to welcome the keynote speaker, guest speaker, resource person, and all the participants to this STTP. I would like to congratulate the convener of this STTP, Dr. Sunita Reddy and her team for organizing this program on such an important and necessary skills required to lead our professional life. We know good communication is an essential tool in achieving productivity and maintaining strong working relationship at all levels of our organization. Positive and healthy relationships also foster effective communication in the workplace. When people know each other and have established trust, it's far easier to have difficult conversation or ask for help. We know, as we are all know, and we are constantly observing that during campus placements, the companies and HRs are stressing for more basic communication skills that has become most challenging aspect for both students and faculty as well. In our professional life, we all are needed to speak appropriately with a wide variety of people while maintaining good eye contact. And also, we have to demonstrate the student in a simple way. I hope all our audience will enjoy learning the communication skills, which is the important skill and required to all the teaching fraternity in the process of sharing ideas and emotions verbally and non-verbally in the classroom for better understanding of the subjects. Not only that, but also it allows us to interact with the students in a convenient way. I believe in this program, our delegates will describe the usefulness and importance of the communication skills. I wish this 1 week STTP a grand success, and I conclude by thanking the principals and convener for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your words really upholds and empowers all of us. Thank you, sir. I now request the convener of this STTP and HOD of SNDS department, Dr. K. Sunita Reddy, to give her valuable remarks. Madam, please.
Good morning, dignitaries, and good day to dear participants from different countries. And I'm not sure what the time is in their respective places. Okay, to start with, the goal of this STTP is to enhance interpersonal and communication skills at workplace. Developing excellent communication skills is absolutely essential for good harmony at workplace. The ability to communicate information accurately, clearly, and as intended is a vital life skill and something that should not be overlooked. As a faculty, as an administrator, we must be able to share knowledge and ideas to transmit a sense of enthusiasm with students as well as our colleagues. If we can't get across the message clearly and motivate others to act on it, then having a message doesn't even matter. It's never too late to work on your communication skills. And by doing so, you may well find that you improve your quality of life. It all starts with good listening. About half a century ago, Carl Rogers stated, the biggest block to personal communication is man's inability to listen intelligently, understandingly, and skillfully to another person. This deficiency in the modern world is widespread and appalling. Things haven't changed much since then. The world has shrunk. Our knowledge has expanded tremendously, but our general awareness about what we need in order to use the most common channel or communicate effectively has not grown. Somebody once said, verbal communication contributes only 33% to the gamut of communication. The rest 67% is all about listening, and no one tells us better than nature itself. That we have 2 ears and one mouth probably means that nature meant us to listen twice as much as we speak. I promise each one of you having a nice learning experience in this STTP by effective listening to all the resource persons. I thank everyone and appreciate your dedication to attend this program. I welcome you all. And to speak about, unfortunately, the keynote speaker, Professor G.M. Sundarvalli ma'am, is unable to join us for the inaugural due to technical issues. But she promised to be with us on any day during the sessions to share her valuable inputs. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Your speech is of simple intensity and was informative for all. Now it's time to invite our guest speaker, Professor P.N. Ramani sir, English Studies and Educational Consultant and Quality Assurance Expert, Chennai. So let us have a small look regarding the P.N. Ramani sir's profile. Dr. P.N. Ramani sir, he is an ELT specialist, curriculum developer, teacher, trainer, ELT administrator, and quality assurance expert in the Education Center. Currently, he is working as a freelance English studies and educational consultant in Chennai. He had also been a vice president of English Language Teachers Association of India. He is a member of the National Executive Committee of ALTI and editor of Journal of English Language Teaching. Over 4 decades, including teaching and administrative assignments in the Middle East, he has studied and taught a wide range of courses in English language and literature in the traditional manner, as well as using task and iterative activities at the bachelor's, master's, and research levels, such as linguistics, discourse analysis, stylistics, English poetry, Indian writing in English, literary theories and criticism, curriculum and course design, teaching methods, materials design and production, assessment and evaluation. He is an author of several English course books and research papers and content head for a set of educational CD-ROMs for learning English at elementary, intermediate, and advanced levels of proficiency in English. Has been associated with Altai for nearly 4 decades, serving the cause of the association in the various ways. He has also been a quality assurance expert in the higher education sector. I feel it is a great honor to cordially invite our today's guest speaker, Professor P.N. Ramani sir, to address the August gathering and guide us for our future endeavors. Sir, please.
Thank you, honestly, for your very extensive introduction. I really feel honored to be part of this STTP. At the outset, I must thank SVC Tirupati, particularly Department of Sciences and Humanities, for organizing this STTP and inviting me to be a guest speaker. I am especially thankful to the chief patrons and the patrons, the convener of this program, the coordinator, and the co-coordinators. When Vanishri called me a few days ago to tell me about this program, I was curious to know what my role would be. And she said I could be an important speaker at the inauguration of the 1-week program, the first phase of the 3-week STTP. When I got the brochure and the poster giving details of the resource persons and the topics that they were going to handle during this week, I was struck by the titles. They were alliterative and quite intriguing. Just to refresh your mind, I'll go through these topics. Today's topic to be dealt with by Dr. Mangair Karsi will be versatile verbosity, amenable attribute. impeding impediments, terminators of transference. I'm familiar with the word terminator because I'm fond of watching that movie. Stint, stretch, and setting. Dr. Sekhar Garu's topic, requisite rapport requirements. Designs for debonair demonstration. Tangible transmission. Vocalization and vocation venue. Avertible aversion. My God. I wouldn't have been able to think of such alliterative phrases as topics for the various sessions. Whoever thought about these, the speakers themselves, or on suggestion by the convener and the coordinators, hats off to them. I'm sure that the attempt at being alliterative in the topic, the phrasing of the topic, truly captures the attention and imagination of the participants of this program. And the resource persons also, I'm sure, will do justice to the topics they have chosen. Now, with these few preliminary observations about the topics chosen by the speakers, resource person for various sessions during this week, and the organizers, I would like to look at the theme of the Sttp itself. The previous speakers, the principals and the convener, Madam Sunita Reddy, also highlighted the importance of effective communication skills at the workplace. I look at the theme of the Sttp in two parts. The first part is harmony at the workplace, and the second part is about effective interpersonal and communication skills. Some people might wonder what the possible connection between these two parts of the theme could be. Harmony at the workplace, yes. By that, people generally think that they should not fight with each other, they should be friendly, they should establish friendly relationships with one another, with superiors, with peers, equals, with subordinates. Years ago, I used to teach a course in professional ethics. To be more specific, engineering ethics. So I'm just reminded of some of the things that I used to discuss in my classes. One, of course, was the code of ethics that every professional organization has. If you want to become a member of IEEE, for example, you have to abide by the code of ethics. The code of ethics will state the principles, broad principles, and also indicate the rules for procedure. And one of the professional attributes of a professional that I remember having discussed in detail is collegiality. Collegiality. Being amiable and friendly among colleagues. This is an important requirement of any professional. SVEC being a professional institution, professional college, training engineers to take up careers in different branches of engineering. I'm not sure whether you have the engineering ethics course on the curriculum, but if you don't have it, you must have it. The course can be taught interestingly through case studies and real life problem posing and so on. So let me come back to the topic. Collegiality is one of the requirements of any profession. And if you compare the code of ethics of IEEE with the code of ethics of medical professionals and other professionals, this would be one of the key requirements, attributes required of all the members of the profession. Workplace will be hell to work in if you can't establish and maintain harmony. Why the workplace? Take the family. There has to be harmonious relation between husband and wife, between father and mother, between the parents and the children, between and among the siblings themselves, between the parents and their parents, between the grandchildren and grandparents. So family is a microcosm of society. And if you don't start establishing harmony within the family, it will be difficult for you to even dream of harmony at the workplace. Of course, I've heard of cases where people say at home you are like very quiet and you are a very good father, a very good person. At the workplace, you are like a tiger. You are a taskmaster. You pounce upon people whenever they make slightest mistakes and so on. People sometimes tend to lead two different kinds of life. They show two different facets of their personality. But by and large, harmonious living within the family is the foundation for harmony at the workplace. Then when you move away from the family to the immediate neighborhood, you have to live harmoniously with your neighbors. People across the street, your actual neighbors, people who live in adjacent houses, and so on. And then you move away from the immediate neighborhood to the part of the village or city or town you belong to. And then you have the larger city community, town community, and then go beyond that to the district level, the state level, the country, and then we talk of global citizenship. The whole world being a global village. It's the same idea, the same concept, harmonious relationship. So harmony is important. You know what lack of harmony entails in bilateral relations, relationship between countries, and so on. Now, they have established the importance of harmony at the workplace as in every other walk of life. A related concept in management terms would be organizational climate. People's productivity is very high if the climate of the organization, if the working climate of the organization, not only in terms of perks, the benefits you are given, but also in terms of the working atmosphere, the amicable relationships you have with your colleagues, and so on, the kind of support that the management, the employer gives you. Okay, so all this relates to organizational climate. So productivity is directly in proportion to the organizational climate, which in turn implies harmonious workplace. Let's come to the second part of the theme, effective interpersonal and communication skills. Interpersonal communication is part of the communication dynamics. Man is a social being. I don't want to use the term animal because we have shown enough evidence of having transcended that stage. So we are trying to think like our creator. Okay. We talk about AI, artificial intelligence. They're trying to create computers that can behave like human beings and so on. Man is essentially a social human being. It doesn't mean that we are not alone at all. We need to have our own private spaces. We need to be lonely sometimes. If you are put in the company of somebody or the other all the time, you won't feel comfortable. Of course, there are some people who feel happy working alone most of the time, but these are different people. The different working habits and so on. Even when we are alone, we are not lonely. Maybe during the lockdown period, many of us have felt sense of loneliness. But through these programs and webinars, our sense of loneliness is overcome. I'm happy about that. The interpersonal relationships, interpersonal skills, communication skills are most important. From a very simple example of a student writing a leave letter to the principal of a school, saying my tummy is upset, I leave for 2 days, I won't leave for 2 days. He cannot write the word tummy in the leave letter. It's supposed to be more formal. So the formal, informal distinction has to be maintained at the workplace in relation to communication at the workplace. In some countries, they encourage you to be more and more informal. You can even address your boss by the first name. But you have to be aware of the organizational culture and then use appropriate forms of address when you talk to your boss, when you talk to your immediate supervisor, your colleague, or your subordinates. So this is one example. Or when a husband comes back from work and says, I'm extremely sorry, my dear, I wouldn't like to bother you by requesting to make a cup of coffee for me. The wife will look at him in a very strange way. What has happened to this gentleman? He went to the office this morning all right. It doesn't seem to be all right now. There you are expected to be using informal language with your spouse. But if you use a formal language, then it looks very strange, inappropriate. So I can go on giving examples, but I leave it to the resource persons to deal with their own respective topics with plenty of examples of good communication, miscommunication, abusive communication, and so on, things to avoid, do's and don'ts in their respective domains. What I'm trying to say is that the theme chosen for the STTP is a very topical and relevant one. Whether we are working online or offline, the workplace will remain the same. The colleagues will be the same. The organizational structure will be the same. Only certain liberties are allowed to you when you work online, work from home. Certain things which are possible when you are face to face in a physical environment, like repeatedly going to the cafeteria for a cup of coffee, chatting with friends there, coming back, feeling more refreshed to focus on work, refocus on work. These may be absent in an online environment. But the basic structure of an organization remains the same. The basic structure of how a workplace is supposed to be made more effective by the contribution of every member of the organization, of the team. So I'm really happy to be involved in this STTP program by being invited to be a guest speaker at the inaugural function. I wish the program grand success. I wish all the resource persons very satisfying, interactive sessions with the participants. I thank once again the organizers, the college, its management, the convener, coordinator, and co-coordinators of this specific program, and the principals of the colleges for giving me this opportunity. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Your pearls of wisdom shall open new horizons in our thoughts, and we shall strive to keep them as a role model in our functioning. Thanks a lot, sir. I'm
My
happy to
pleasure.
say, yeah, thank you. I'm happy to say that our college promotes enthusiasm among faculty and students by participating in different aspects and prepares the faculty and students to adapt the challenges of an ever-changing world of tomorrow. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let us go with a small promo which explores more about our college. The promo itself shows that the Sri Colleges is continuously striving to achieve excellence in all the departments. The college sets some benchmarks in the academia and is relentlessly trying to achieve the heights in rendering the world-class education. I now request the convener of this Sttp and HOD of Percentage Department, Dr. K. Sunita Reddy, to propose vote of thanks. Madam, please.
Greetings of the day. On behalf of SV Colleges, It gives me an immense pleasure to propose vote of thanks at the end of the inaugural function of this AICTE sponsored STTP Phase 1 on Harmony in Workplace, Effective Interpersonal and Communication Skills, organized by our institute. I express my deep sense of gratitude to Professor P.N. Ramani sir, who readily accepted, though it was on a short span of time. Thank you, sir. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. It's unfortunate that Professor G.M. Sundarvalli ma'am was unable to join us, and please excuse. I'm extremely obliged to thank our chairman, Mr. A. Gengireddy sir, and vice chairman, Mr. Prakash Ambabaram sir, for all the support they have extended. I wholeheartedly thank Principal Dr. T. Kalpata Reddy ma'am, Principal of SVC Dr. N. Sudhakar Reddy sir, and Principal of SVCK Dr. P.B.N. Reddy sir for their continuous guidance. My heartfelt thanks to all the resource persons of this STTP program. From the depth of my heart, I appreciate and thank the coordinator, Dr. M. Vanishri, who played a crucial role in rolling out things. A special thanks to the coordinators and advisory committee members for their unflinching support and coordination. And finally, the day would have been meaningless without the presence of our wonderful participants. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Dear participants, a small announcement. We shall now have a tea break for 10 minutes. And after the break, I request all the participants to again join here, that is at 10:45 for the today's session on the topic Versatile Verbosity, Amenable Attribute, that is effective communication skills at workplace by our Professor J. Mangayar Karasi, Dean of Academics and HOD, PG and Research Center, Department of English, Etharaj College for Women, Chennai. I also inform to all the participants that for all the 6 days of this SDTP, the feedback link will be posted at the end of the session in the chat box. And I also request the participants to please use chat box to post the queries. Thank you, and again we'll rejoin within 5 to 10 minutes at 10:45.
Yeah, Vanishri,
Yes,
can we
madam.
make it at 10:50? Because it's
Yeah,
10:40 already.
yeah.
10:50, we'll start with the sessions.
Okay, okay, madam.
Yeah. So
I
we'll resume at 10:50.
Okay, madam. Hello,
Yes, madam.
madam, shall we join?
Oh, yes, please join.
Okay, thank you. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After the tea break, I now take a privilege to welcome our today's resource person, Professor J. Mangayar Karasi, Dean of Academics and HOD, PG and Research, Department of English, Ethiraj College for Women, Chennai. Welcome, ma'am. Let me take a small look of Mangayar, madam. Professor J. Mangayar Karasi Madam did her PhD in ELT from University of Madras. She has more than 25 years of affluent teaching experience and worked at various levels as Associate Professor, Soft Skills Instructor, Beck Trainer, Viva Voce Examiner, and so on. She presented many papers in national and international seminars and conferences, invited talk in India and abroad, and also published more than 35 of her scholarly articles in reputed national and international journals. She is associated with many professional bodies. She is an executive member of LTI India, Global Professional Member, TESOL, member of IATEFL UK, and Board of Directors, Chennai Literary Association. She is nominated as a convener to inspect and report on the academic attainments, infrastructural, and other facilities available at the Department of English, Sri Sankara Arts College and Science College. She chaired many sessions and also delivered many lectures as a resource person and keynote speaker in many national and international conferences, workshops, and seminars. She published two books on ELT and American literature worldwide. Under her able guidance, 24 scholars got MPhil and 7 scholars awarded with doctorate. She received many awards for her superlative efforts towards the reach of education, such as Mayan Award from Kuala Lumpur, Best Educationist Award, Best Philanthropic Award, and Women's Day Celebration Award from the Society of Midwives India for her meritorious and selfless services to humanity in the field of education. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Students' Day Best Teacher Award in appreciation for her service rendered for her institution and students, Best Social Activist Award from Indian Confederation of Labour for her outstanding contribution in the field of community outreach and services. And also she got Mother Teresa Award for her meritorious and self-services to humanity in social service. Madam, please, madam, we welcome you and we are eager to listen your words to quench our thirst for knowledge.
Thank you, madam,
Thank you,
for
ma'am.
the wonderful introduction. Okay, let's begin our session. Communication skills in the workplace. Versatile verbosity, amenable attribute. That's the main theme given for today. All of us are eager to present ourselves in a better way to the world, especially when it comes to our professional friend. All of us project ourselves in a different way. We just look up to a model and then we proceed with that. Most of us, we Google and see. Most of us have a model of our own Few of us have leaders as their model, teachers as their model. Likewise, it goes on and on. What do we mean by communication skills? What is it actually? Usually, when we think of communication skills, we think we have to speak. Only speaking. Communication skills integrates all the four basic skills. If you're not aware of that, kindly note that it is the integration of all basic skills: listening, speaking, and reading and writing. These are the four skills. The first and foremost for communication skills requires the acquisition of the first skill, listening skill. The acquisition of first skill called listening skill. Let's move on to the slide. What do we mean by communication skills? How do we integrate the communication skills? The first one is, first we'll begin with eye contact. The first one is eye contact. How do we contact our audience through our eyes? How do we contact them? How do we do that? How do we go about that? Let's see how to begin with eye contact. So when we begin through eye contact, we can easily reach out to our audience. So how do we begin that? What is it called as communication? Communication skills begins with non-verbal communication. Verbal and non-verbal. Usually we think that it has something to do with verbal alone. It has beyond that we have to concentrate on, that is non-verbal communication. Let's begin with non-verbal communication. So what is it, non-verbal communication? The first non-verbal communication is how we present ourselves. How we present ourselves. That is more important. How we present ourselves. That is eye contact and body language. How you present now I request to move on to the slide. How we present ourselves. How do we do that? How do we go about that? Let's see. Non-verbal communication. When it comes to non-verbal communication, first and foremost is our facial presentation. How we are projecting ourselves. How we have to present ourselves in our office space. There are few images I have to show you how we present ourselves in our office space. There are emojis I have presented. You just see the emojis and then you just tell me how you present yourself. So first one is how you convey a message without any words through your facial expression, through your body language, through your eye contact. The first one is eye contact, next one is body language and how you express yourselves. The next one is, it refers to the ability to speak, listen, and then you write carefully how you convey the message to your audience. That is more important. Effective non-verbal communication skill is to understand your audience. First you have to understand your target audience and then you have to speak. You have to begin. You have to begin once you understand your target audience. So non-verbal communication is the most powerful form. All of us think only verbal communication is the most powerful form, but non-verbal communication is the most powerful form in our workplace. In our workplace, non-verbal communication plays a major role, vital role. So it often sets the tone. That only sets the tone for our verbal communication. First, our body language, how you dress, how you present yourself, the eye contact you create, the contact you create with your audience, and then you move on to verbal communication. Before you move on to your verbal communication, you have to set the tone. That is most important. And element of non-verbal communication. There are so many facial expressions. I have few facial expressions to show you. In our slide, we have that facial expression. Sir, could you say that screen? Okay. So there are few expressions. So this expression, how you smile, how you relate yourself to the audience. So this expression, you're reluctant, slightly hesitant. So it shows you're done. So these are the expressions we can use when it comes to a workplace. So when it comes to a workplace, you should not sit like this. You have to present boldly. You have to present yourself briskly. That is more important. You have to present yourself with a smile. You have to present yourself politely. So these are all body languages, eye contact you create, you set before you begin your conversation. And then you can think of non-verbal communication. Why do you communicate through non-verbal communication? Why do you focus on non-verbal communication? All of us, we are bothered about. We concentrate on accent, style, and all those are there. How stylishly you present. So how you dress. Sometimes you dress up well, and the presentation would be in a different way. So these are all to be noted before you begin your conversation, your dialogue with your peers in your workplace. So there are so many expressions how you avoid eye contact. When you avoid eye contact, when you interact with your peers, when you avoid eye contact, it shows that you're evasive, you're cold, you're shy, you're indifferent, and you're fearful. When you avoid eye contact, these are the message we carry in our workplace. When you have frequent eye contact, you create intimacy, sincerity, self-confidence, respect. So see how important it is to have a good eye contact. When you have a good eye contact, that creates intimacy, and it reveals you're sincere, and it reveals that you're self-confident, and it shows that you respect your peers. So when in our workplace, First and foremost clue is eye contact. Constant eye contact reveals that you're tense, you're angry, you're unfriendly. So don't avoid eye contact. Don't have constant eye contact. Have frequent eye contact. Frequent eye contact, it should be calm and it should create intimacy. It should create that respect to your side. That's most important. Next nonverbal communication is touch. How you touch. How you touch your peers. How there are so many touches. A mother touches a baby. That's a different one. It gives comfort. In workplace, our touch expresses friendship, nurture. Sometimes it gives a negative interest too. Sometimes it shows that you are dominant. You should not do that. Touch plays a vital role. The first one, eye contact. The second one is our touch. You should have a genuine touch, a normal touch. So, what is the message you carry? So, if you sit like this, what message you convey? If you sit in your workplace like this, with your hands on your cheeks, what does it convey? Does it convey your interest towards that? Or sometimes when you're interested, we just look at like this. But in your workplace, you have to be confident, and you have to show your show yourself that you're confident. Here, body language plays a major role. What does this pose convey to your audience, convey to the other man? And what does this convey? That you're not interested. So these are all nonverbal communication. So there are key issues to be considered when it comes to nonverbal communication. First, you should identify what are all nonverbal action. What were you trying to communicate at that point of time? Was your nonverbal communication successful? In other words, was your action understood? So I'll give you 2 to 3 minutes to ponder over, and then you get back you get back with your own ideas. So you think along these lines. What is the nonverbal action? First, you should know what are all the nonverbal actions, and what were you trying to communicate, and what were your nonverbal actions. Check whether it was successful. Check whether it was understood by your opponent. Sometimes, most of the times, we make judgments constantly based on nonverbal communication. That sets the tone. That is more important. The way you dress, the way you present yourself, the way you begin, how you set the tone. The voice modulation, eye contact, the touch, everything matters. So, how confidently you stand, it actually makes an individual more confident. So, when you dress up well, you feel confident. When you smile, you feel confident. When you create frequent eye contact, you are confident. When you touch in a right way, in a positive way, you are confident. Are you confident now to communicate in your workplace? Are you ready to communicate well in your workplace? So, essential skill is writing. Let's move on to writing too. Before we move on to that, I would like to throw some light on the styles of verbal and nonverbal communication. Let's move on to the styles of verbal and nonverbal communication. Okay, what is it? Without communication skills, we are unable to let others to think, to feel, to accomplish, to motivate, or to resolve conflict in our workplace. So, what is it? It is exchange of thoughts, exchange of messages, exchange of information by a speech, by a signal, by a writing, by a behavior in our workplace. The technique of using words, all of us are familiar with all alphabets, and we know how to speak in English, we know how to use English, and we don't know how to use properly in our workplace. So, how to use it properly? The art and technique of using words effectively to impart information or ideas in our workplace. Acceptable communication differs from company to company. So there are different companies, different industries. They from each
Excuse me,
company.
madam. Ma'am,
Yes, yes, madam.
like participants are saying the voice is low. Could you please increase your voice, madam? Hello.
Yes, madam.
Ma'am, participants are saying that voice is not audible. Could you please increase your voice, madam? Hello.
I'll do it, ma'am. I'll do it, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Is it
Thank you,
audible
madam.
now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Excuse me, Vanishri ma'am. Vanishri ma'am, actually her voice is audible. It is
Yes, sir.
good. Maybe related to.
YouTube stream, like the participants are saying that the voice is not audible. Sometimes it is breaking.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Okay. Is it clear now?
Yeah, yes, madam. Thank you.
Okay.
And
So the
please say,
art of
madam, like if you have
using
to change the slide.
words effectively to impart information or ideas and the acceptable communication. The first one is listening. How you listen to it, how effectively you listen and grab the ideas. When you listen to others, it makes them feel good. It also makes for a deeper and more positive connection with others. In turn, you form an understanding and they listen to you when it's your turn to speak. Sometimes poor listening happens and then you misunderstand and miscommunication happens. How good a listener are you? So let us check that. How good a listener are you? Are you a good listener? I have a game for you to check that. I'll read a paragraph and then you answer the questions and you can reply through the message box. A well liked college teacher had just completed making up the final examinations and had turned off the lights in the office. Just then, a tall, dark, broad figure appeared and demanded the examination. The professor opened the drawer. Everything in the drawer was picked up, and the individual ran down the corridor. The dean was notified immediately. Answer these questions. I hope you all heard that. The thief was tall, dark, and broad. Tell me whether it is right or wrong. The professor turned off the lights. A tall figure demanded the examination. The examination was picked up by someone. The examination was picked up by the professor. So I have 5 statements. Just tell me whether it is right or wrong. So, your intention, when you communicate, your intention plays a major role. Ask yourself what your intention is before you begin a project in your workplace, before going for a meeting, or before you speak to someone in your workplace. So, your intention plays a vital role. First, body language, eye contact, the touch you create, and the tone you set. And after that, the intention. Before you communicate, the intention matters a lot. First one is you have to listen. Once you listen to that, you have to check whether you're a good listener. Once you check whether you're a good listener, you have to check the purpose of your communication. What is it actually? Why do I communicate? Is it for a meeting? Or is it to begin a project? Or is it a meeting with an individual? If it is a meeting with an individual, you can use personal, not personal dialogues. You have to make the other person feel comfortable, confident. So you can ask others what their intentions are. To save their time, you have to respect others' time. So when you respect others' time, you have to plan everything perfectly before you meet someone. What are you going to communicate? Is it brief, or it's going to be limited, just a dialogue or two? Or when you go for something, when you seek for information, when you begin a project, you just throw yourself, just a dialogue, and then you wait for your turn to talk. You listen to them, you listen, and then you infer the ideas from the conversation. That is most important. You just give way for them to explain their experience, to explain everything perfectly, boldly to them. And then you have to be effective and skillful. You have to be effective. At the same time, you have to be skillful. The next one is you have to speak clearly. When you speak to the other person in the professional field, you have to be you have to speak clearly. And then take a deep breath and remain positive when talking to people. You have to keep your voice steady and don't talk too quickly or too quietly. So these are the two: too quickly or too quietly. You have to be bold. You have to take a deep breath. Try to cut out mm, ah. So these are all negative signs. Mm, and all. When you listen to stories, you can say So when you talk to talk to a professional in the professional front, you should not use and all. You should understand what you are trying to communicate. You have to be confident in what you are saying, and others should feel through your body language. Others should feel that you are confident. You are trying to say something interesting to them. Be genuine. In your workplace, be genuine. When you communicate in your workplace, be genuine. Being genuine, it includes you have to speak honestly, you have to express excitement or sadness when you feel like it, and you should be friendly. That's most important. There's nothing wrong in saying No, I don't really agree with that. When you don't really agree with someone, present it politely. Say that you don't agree. If you know, I think you have changed my mind. However, don't be rude. I was just being honest. It's not a good excuse for being rude. So being genuine builds your confidence. Now let's move on to the communication flow. So far we concentrated on what is communication, how to communicate, what is body language, what are more important, how to begin, how to set the tone. Once you set the tone, how limited it should be, how to argue, how to present yourself politely. And now we'll move on to downward communication, upward communication, and the grapevine communication. Sir, could you present the photograph on screen, sir? Downward workplace communication is enabling. Downward communication in the workplace has two important characteristics. One is a manager explains a task to an employee. Before you begin your work, a manager explains a task, what you are going to do, what are you expected to do. The next one, a customer gives an order to a supplier. You have to be clear and you have to say what you exactly require, and then shareholders instruct management. So there are three downward communication. First one is how you enable, how clearly you enable. A manager explaining a task to his employees, a customer gives an order, a shareholder gives an instruction to the management. So you have to give less details. Don't be in a hurry. Give less details and how effectively you communicate. Now we'll move on to upward communication. So downward communication is enabling, upward communication is giving less details. Upward communication, we know that the staff in the accounting department will report to the section head on their number of enrollees. In a case, the other one is the college account in turn will report in less detail to the enrollment of figures. Finally, the other one will report to the president on how well the college is doing for the year 2020-21. So here you have to give less details. Each one should communicate clearly. You should not miscommunicate. You should know the difference between exact communication and miscommunication. Avoid miscommunication in your workplace. So now you can think of an example for upward communication that you have experienced in your workplace and show that it gives less details. Next one is lateral communication. Under lateral communication, we have coordination, how effectively you coordinate. Now, you think of the information that flows back and forth between you and your peers, whether you are frontline worker, a manager, or a member of the board of directors. This is lateral communication. Lateral communication is coordination. So far, we concentrated on downward communication. Downward communication is nothing but giving a task to our employee. Next one is upward communication, giving less details. Next one is lateral communication, coordination. How effectively you coordinate with the team. Characteristics of a coordinator. So you should not throw your weight. Here, you should not throw your weight. Uh, First, you should know no superior or subordinate relationship exists here. Don't think that you are superior and you're exhibiting a different role here. It is strictly a case of one-on-one communication between two people, a communication between two people, and equal amounts of power and prestige. That makes this form of communication voluntary and discretionary. You should make them feel comfortable. When you coordinate, as a coordinator, you have to make your peer feel comfortable. Yes, sometimes the boss may tell us to communicate with each other, but unless we both want to do it, if you have the intention to do it, we exchange ideas with a value, with valuable inputs. If you really like that, if you are really into it, you put your heart and soul into that project, and then you communicate effectively with your peers and get it done. So this is called as lateral communication. That is coordination with the team. That takes us to the next aspect, that is second aspect, the idea of reciprocating. So when we receive something nice, we reciprocate. When I smile at you, you smile at me. When I greet you in the morning, you greet me back. When I'm rigid, you're also rigid. So what you give, it comes back. So you begin with a smile. In your workplace, you begin with a smile. How you present yourself. So that takes us to the second aspect of coordination, that is idea of reciprocating. The quality and quantity of information we provide to our peers, it generally reflects what we get back from them. I may provide some good information to you when we start working together, but I won't continue to provide it unless you reciprocate politely in a kind manner. Then we are moving to an important segment called team communication. So far, you must have understood what is communication in a workplace. I hope I made myself clear through body language, and I presented you different postures, the intention, how effectively you communicate, downward communication, upward communication, lateral communication. Now we have come to our important segment called team communication. We are all working as a team. In our workplace, all of us form a team. All of us feel comfortable with someone, with our team. You should make yourself happy when you work together so that we can produce good results wherever we are. Team communication, it's a special form of lateral communication. That's also a branch of lateral communication and an essential one. For teamwork in our workplace, members not only communicate with each other, but will often need to communicate with peers outside and their immediate group. So, leaders will need to keep these communication flows in mind, as well as the upward and downward flows that connect them directly to their co-employees. So leader plays a major role here, a team leader. He has to take care of, he or she has to take care of upward communication, lateral communication, and then downward communication too. So these are all important when you take up as a team leader. Communication for team building is just a plain teamwork, and it requires consistent attention. As a team leader, it requires consistent attention. You should make sure that you communicate with the whole team in an effective way. So here we have to see how the communication flows. Communication flow. So downward, first we begin with downward. You have to enable what exactly you want, how you communicate, how you give instructions, how you give directive information down or through a hierarchy. Next one is upward communication or compliance. This communication provides feedback to the people who originates downward communication. It gives feedback to the one who gives you instruction, to your managers. And lateral communication or coordinating, that communication that moves between peers to maintain or improve operation efficiently. So here the gray point, which fills in gaps in official communication and provides answers to unaddressed questions. Why is effective communication essential? So what are all the styles? Let's move on to the next segment, that is styles. What is your communicating style? First, you should identify what is your style, how effectively you are communicating. So assess that. It requires high level of self-awareness. You have to assess yourself. High level of self-awareness, understanding your personal style of communicating goes a long way toward helping you to create a good and lasting impression on others. It gives a lasting impression to your peers. So, you should understand your style of communication. So far, we concentrated on eye contact, the contact you make through your touch, how you set the tone, your intention. Is it one-on-one communication or with peers? And what are all the different types of communication? Downward, upward, lateral, and what exactly you require for your communication. Above all, for effective communication, you should be a good listener. Are you listening? Okay. Let's move on to three basic communication styles. One is aggressive, second one is passive, third one is assertive. First, let us focus on elements of the aggressive style. We believe, we'll have some belief, and we approach our peers with that belief. So when you see your target audience, when you meet your peers, you can alter your beliefs. So in aggressive style, your belief would be everyone should be like me. I'm never wrong. I've got rights, but you don't. These are your beliefs. Your communication style here is, it reveals that you're close-minded, you're a poor listener, you have difficulty in seeing the other person's point of view, it interrupts, it monopolizes. You got it? If you're aggressive, you expect the others should be like you. You think that you're always right, and you think that you have got the rights that others don't. It reveals the these type of style that you're close-minded and a poor listener. So a
Excuse
good
me, ma'am.
yes,
Sorry to disturb you, ma'am. Ma'am, please say, please say to us that when we have to go to the next slide. It is little bit confusion to us.
slide.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ask. I'll tell you when to share. Let him share the YouTubes alone, ma'am.
Now, madam.
Yeah. Ask him to play the YouTube alone now,
Hmm.
and then we'll move on to. Yeah, I have started style. Once I finish this style, we can move on to the YouTubes.
Yeah. Okay then. Thank you.
Okay. So characteristics. The one is one who achieves goals, and dominating, sometimes bullying, sometimes you patronize, sometimes you used to be sarcastic. A behavior, it this behavior puts others down, and they think you're bossy, and you move into other people's spaces and you overpowers, and you jump on other, you push the others around, you never allow others to grow, and this type of style is like that, that is aggressive style. The next style is, so the non-verbal cues, you shake finger, sometimes you frown, sometimes you squint your eyes, sometimes you glare, stare, a rigid posture you'll have, you'll be critical and you'll be loud and you yell at others, your tone of voice and all that reveals that you belong to the aggressive type. And then verbal cues are, don't ask why, just do it. They consider that it as a abuse. And problem solving. You have to solve your problem. You must win. You must win the argument. You have to win the threats and attacks and everything. You always will be in win or lose position. So these are the feelings felt when you're aggressive. You always be angry, hostile, and frustrated and impatient. And these are the effects. It provokes counter aggression. You move away from others. You waste time and your energy. You over supervise others. You pay high price in human relationships, and it fosters resistance, defiance, sabotage, striking back, forming alliance, lying, covering up, forces compliance with criticism. This is called aggressive style. I hope you got what I mean by aggressive style. The next one is passive style. Passive style is, don't express your true feelings. You always will be in a set, and you always think that, yes, I'm a leader, I'm in office, and don't make waves. You don't disagree. Others have more rights than I do. When you respect them, your communication style would be indirect, always agrees, and then you will be slightly hesitant. So these are the non-verbal cues. It gets nods head often. You always nod your head often. It comes across like pleading, and lack of facial animation. You smile and nod in agreement for everything. Downcast your eyes. You will have stump posture, low a low volume. You speak in a low volume, and you used to be meek, up talk, and usually fast when anxious, slow when hesitant, slow when you're doubtful. So this is passive style. Verbal cues are you should do it. You have more experience than I do. I can't. This is probably wrong, but I'll try. Monotonous, low energy. You should be, you always remain with low energy level. So confrontation and problem solving. When it comes to confrontation, when you encounter confrontation or when you encounter problem, uh, you always avoid passive style. You ignore, you leave. Sometimes you postpone, you withdraw, or is sullen and silent. You agree and then agree externally. Sometimes disagree internally. You expand the energy to avoid conflicts that are anxiety provoking. You spend too much time asking for advice, supervision. You agree too often. It clearly the assertive style is the one you strive for. So there are three different styles. One is one is aggressive, passive, and assertive. Aggressive, I told you, you'll be bossy. Passive, you always nod and you agree with them, but which should be liked by others is assertive. You should be assertive. So that would really helps you to be a good communicator. You can create a good rapport with your employees. You can create a good rapport with your peers. Be assertive. That is more important in your workplace. So if you are assertive, you keep your mind open for others, you respect their style. In fact, sometimes aggressive style is essential at certain times. When it demands, you should be aggressive. When a decision has to be made quickly during emergencies, when you know you are right and the fact is crucial, stimulate stimulate creativity by designing competition destined for use in training or to increase productivity. Passiveness also has its critical applications. When an issue is minor, when the problems caused by the conflict are greater than the conflict itself, when emotions are running high and it makes sense to take a break in order to calm down and regain perspective, when your power is much lower than the other party, when the other's position it is impossible to change for all practical purposes. So that is more important. So these are the styles we have. You have to be assertive, you can be passive, and you can be aggressive when it demands. So far, we had concentrated on what is communication, verbal and non-verbal communication. Communication in workplace begins with non-verbal communication, body language, eye contact, the touch, the intention, and then how effectively you communicate, if it is one on one, if it is team, the types of communication, downward, upward, lateral, team communication. Then you have to identify the style of communication: aggressive, passive, and assertive. Now I request Sir to play the YouTube. Now you can assess yourself where you stand, whether you are aggressive, whether you are passive, whether you are assertive. And you check whether you communicate through your body language, whether you contact through your eyes. Frequent contact would be better, and whether you communicate downward or upward? Or later, what is your position? You assess and then you come back with me in another few minutes with your questions.
On Hero TV today, Sydney Jakes, she's going to be teaching us how to improve communication in the workplace.
Hey everybody, it's Sydney Jakes and I'm so excited. Today we're talking about one of my favorite topics, communication. Would you be surprised to know I have the nickname an engineer with a personality? Yeah, that's how some people refer to me, and I think it's because I love to communicate. Not all engineers love that so much. I want to share with you today a model that we've developed, and it's called Living Large, okay? Before I dive into it and tell you what the acronym stands for, I want to give you the philosophy behind it. The philosophy is that life can be better than it is right now. I really believe that. You can be larger, not just in size, but you can be larger in your personality, in your outreach, in your influence than you are right now. So that's the goal, is that by living large and taking these communication steps and implementing one at a time, that it will truly be a benefit to your life, probably both at work and at home. So our acronym, Living Large. So we're going to start with the L. The L stands for listen. Probably no big surprise, right? But how good are we truly at listening? I don't think for most of us that we probably had any training in it. We probably don't practice it. But yet I think it's one of the greatest skills that we really need to be conscious about developing and being more intentional about it. So when I decided I wanted to start my business, I hired a business coach to help me because I had a degree in engineering. I didn't have any classes in business. I knew nothing about accounting. So I hired a business coach to help me set up my business plan, do some real basics accounting, and just get me started off on my first year. So he taught me a lot of different things. But the thing that he taught me that has really made the most impact is he told me, Sydney, if you're going to be successful in your business, you need to learn to be 100% present. Think about how often you're truly 100% present. I always have things going on in the back of my mind, and sometimes we're thinking, oh, I already know the answer to that, just hurry up and finish it, or this is how I'm going to respond to that. That was his challenge to me. You need to learn to be 100% present. Now I want you to realize that was over 20 years ago when he taught me that. I didn't have an iPad, an iPod, that cell phone that we spend so much time doing this on. I didn't have one of those. I didn't even have my laptop computer. But yet that was his biggest piece of advice to me. So when I talked about the first part of the communication model, is really learn how to listen, I want you to think, are you really 100% present? Is that something you could work on? I wanted to tell you, it's something that traditionally I've done better with my clients than I have with my family. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that. But I'm in the phone a lot in my car, and a lot of times I noticed that I would be on the phone and I'd walk into my house and my kids would be there when I'd walk through the door, and I'd be kind of like, shh, shh, shh. Yeah, you've probably done that before. And one day I pulled up to my house and I just thought, wait a minute, inside that door, those are my most important people in the whole wide world. Why should I be shushing them when it's the first time that I'm seeing them after school? I should be 100% present with them. So I started a new habit that every time when I drive home and whether I'm on the phone, I finish my conversation, I put my phone inside my purse, I zip up my purse, and then when I walk through my door frame of my house, that's a trigger to me. When I walk through that door frame, it's a trigger for me to remember, on the other side, these are my people. Those are the most important people in the world. I want to be 100% present for them. My kids, my husband, they'll call me out. If I get on my phone later, they'll say, and they're trying to talk to me, hey mom, 100% present. So it's a good language that you can share with people so that you can all be on the same page and all have that same goal to be 100% present. I now use the trigger of the door frame anytime, not just at my house, but when I'm going into a meeting. I think on the other side of that door, there's somebody I want to add value to. I want to be 100% present when I get there so that I can be the best I can and help them the best I can and add value. So that's the L. We really need to listen. The A stands for asking questions. This is another thing that we probably never really had any training on. So I'm going to share a couple of my favorites with you. The first one is to just ask permission to have a conversation, okay? A lot of times I'll call somebody and just say, they'll answer their phone and I'll say, hey, this is Sydney, do you have a minute? And they'll say, no, I'm in the middle of a meeting. And I think to myself, well, why did you answer your phone? But I guess they thought I was important because they saw me on their caller ID. But we need to get in the habit of asking permission to have a conversation. If I was at the office and I wanted to have a conversation with Scott, I would walk to his door and say, Scott, I wanted to talk to you about this project that we have in Logan. It's going to take about 15 minutes. Is this a good time to talk? So if I give him the information so that he knows what it is that I want to talk about, how long it's going to take, then that gives him the option to say, yes, this is a good time, or to say, you know what, this really doesn't work, let's reschedule this, and then I can be present and I can be attentive for this conversation. So ask permission to have a conversation, whether you're in person or even if you're calling on the phone. I always ask on the phone, is this a good time? And tell them about how long you think it will take, and give them permission to come to the conversation fully engaged and not distracted. Another thing that we can do to ask questions is to not be afraid to ask questions, to get to know people at a different connection level than we typically do at work. Ask people about their families, ask people where they grew up, ask them about their hobby. Learn to ask questions that will help you to learn more and connect at a deeper level. So we have the L for listen, the A for ask. The R is for respond. Now I want you to think about this because respond is what I hope that you will do instead of react. Now I used to teach the 7 habits of highly effective people through the Covey Leadership Center. And I remember one of the models that Dr. Covey developed is he taught about the thing that makes us different as humans from animals is that we have the ability to think and to respond instead of just react out of instinct. So the question is, are you using that ability? Do you let your temper flare and you just react to things, or do you stop and think and say, how do I really want to respond to this? How do I want to respond to this communication? Again, our communication comes in many forms and fashions. Could be text, could be email. Maybe the best response is to pick up the phone and have a conversation. Or to say, you know what, instead of continuing this back and forth email, let's just sit down and have a meeting so that we can talk about this. So how are you going to respond to somebody? Do it thoughtfully. Make sure it's not a reaction and not a knee-jerk reaction that could be negative, but respond in a proper way. So L, listen, A, ask, R, respond. G stands for the generations. Many of us are working in cultures and environments where we have 3 to 4, maybe even 5 different generations all working in the workforce. So we have a whole training course that dives deep into this. For this quick video,
Yeah. Hello, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Shall we continue?
Yes, ma'am. I hope you got an idea. Now we can close this session. And I would like to say that you all are familiar with the styles, what it is to communicate, how to communicate, and you have to be aware of your own communication when it comes to your workplace, and you have to be aware of your style, and you have to fine tune your style, and it is time to give the best chance of success in your business and in your life. Sir, I would like to conclude by saying that be a good listener, be a good leader, communicate effectively with your peers, be successful in your workplace. Thank you very much for the wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Shall we go with the query session?
Yes.
Yeah. One question is there from Jyoti Muglekar. She's asking that can these styles be current to the digital workplaces too?
Yes, it would be effective even in the digital workplace. You can take this as an example. I just had slides and other things, but even with that, I wanted to present myself effectively through the medium we opted for today. So that would be effective when you communicate well, when you present effectively well with your peers, even through online communication.
Okay.
Nowadays, the style
Participants?
is the
Yeah.
we interact through Zoom meeting with our employees, and you have to communicate well. The way you set your video, the way you present yourself, how effectively you communicate. Sometimes we just close our audio and video. When to communicate through mic, when to communicate through our message box, and all this matters a lot.
Okay, madam. Nice explanation. Like anybody wants to ask question? Sir, ready, Shekhar, ready, sir?
Good afternoon, Reddy sir.
Madam, another participant is there from YouTube, like Mr. Sunan Emmanuel. He's asking that how to handle conflict at workplace.
Already I made a mention how to handle conflict at workplace. You have to check which style you belong to. Aggressive, passive, or assertive. You have to be assertive. At times, passive. At times, aggressive. It depends on the problem you encounter in your work.
Shall we go with the
If sometimes the problem, if it is really
she's asking
what shall I say,
these styles be current
strong or something, you have to use aggressive style. The percentage vary. It varies. The percentage. You have to be aggressive, sometimes passive and assertive, but be assertive. You be assertive when you encounter a problem. Approach the problem calmly. You just analyze that based on the problem. Take some a few minutes to assess the problem. Don't react immediately. Don't throw your words. Don't show a different body language. Don't show a negative body language. Approach it calmly. When you approach it calmly, you can decide on something, and then you can easily sort out the problem. The first and foremost is to be assertive when you encounter a problem in your workplace.
Okay, thank you, madam. Any other questions?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Monday, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much, sir,
That was
for
very
being
nice
here.
session, but yeah, unfortunately, in between, I lost connectivity for some time.
I see.
That was nice and nice to see you and to listen to you in this presentation.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so much. That is nice. Thank you.
Thank you,
Madam,
sir.
another participant is there from YouTube, like Mr. Sunan Emmanuel. He's asking that how to handle conflict at workplace.
Any other questions, madam?
Yeah. Okay, madam. Shall we wind up the session?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I think. Thank you, ma'am. Like wherever you go, you sow the seeds of knowledge, creativeness, which results to happiness. Your session is an array of different colors, which enlightens us and open the gates for new creation of new knowledge on effective communication skills. Thanks a lot, madam. It's really a wonderful session. And dear participants, hello, dear participants. Again, tomorrow we will meet at same time, that is at 10 o'clock. Tomorrow there will be a session by Dr. K. Sunita Reddy, Professor and HOD of Ascendage Department, Sri Venkateshwara Engineering College, Tirupati, on the topic impeding impediments, terminators of transference, that is roadblocks to communication. I repeat it again. So tomorrow there will be a session at the same time, that is at 10 o'clock, by Dr. K. Sunita Reddy, Professor and HOD of Ascendage Department, Sri Venkateshwara Engineering College, Tirupati, on the topic impeding impediments, terminators of transference, that is roadblocks to communication. Participants, please fill the feedback form of the day 1.
Thank you, Anushri, madam.
Thanks a lot, madam, for taking time and sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you, sir, for the technical support, and it was really good. Thank you, Reddy, sir, and all the others. I thank IELTI for the opportunity. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Have a
madam.
wonderful
Thanks a
day.
lot. Participants, please fill the feedback link. Please fill the feedback form.